Hi everyone, welcome to Your Value. So if you haven't heard by now or seen by now, GameStop has gone ballistics. It's literally a stock that's gone from pennies all the way to the stratosphere in a sense. Like, you're talking about a stock that at the start of January was in the teens, and then it closed yesterday at $147, a 92% gain, and then under before market hours you're looking at $235. How insane is that? So why did people pick GameStop? Well, if you didn't know, GameStop happened to be one of the most shorted stocks on the market. It was shorted about 144% of its float, so beyond 100%. So you can imagine it's a very, very highly shorted stock. So, and also given a valuation of about 10 billion right now, when the shorts, when the stock began to move at the start of January, it had a valuation of about $1 billion, and it's basically 10x in that time. And yeah, it's at that 10 billion mark currently, and you can see why, the base of the valuation wasn't too high, and the shorts were overwhelmingly high at 144% of the float. So the minute the stock moved up, anyone that was short this company, they had to recover, they actually had to buy back in, which contributes to the demand for the stock, and it just really increases its price even more. I'm really curious in a sense of how many people actually are still short the stock. Like, it'd be insane to still have people shorting the stock, but I bet you a lot of people are still shorting the stock, because as the price moves higher, there's always going to be someone shorting the stock. There's always someone shorting a stock, which is kind of weird in a sense. Some even good stocks, you'll have people shorting against them. So no matter how good something is or how bad something is, you'll always have someone shorting the stock. And yeah, it's just really, really interesting, because I don't think I've ever seen something like this. Not on this level, like, not like, just a retail investor handing it to like large institutions. Like, usually institutions have so much money, they kind of just push back, and they can do anything they like because they have such power when it comes to the markets. But now you're looking at retail investors going, if everyone works together, they can really, take it to the institutions or people who are shorting stocks. And this is really entertaining to watch, because, if you're someone that doesn't quite like people who short stocks, it's rather entertaining watching it just skyrocket. And it's, you're watching like 92% yesterday and potentially over 60% for today, which is, crazy, right? So I don't think most people have ever seen this type of action in a certain stock, and some people not in their lives. Some people might have seen it a few times, but I don't think you'll be able to see it. It just isn't something that's going to repeat that often. So it makes for great entertainment for sure. And then if we look at the same list and we go, oh, is this going to happen with other stocks? Well, potentially, but we have to find the same conditions. And apart from like Dillard's, like this company is at a valuation of $2.2 billion. You can see it's kind of moved up quite a lot since mid-January. So in a sense, it's gone up like 50%. So in a way, the value if you were shorting the stock, you would have probably recovered by now, having seen GameStop, and that's potentially what has pushed it up a bit more recently. Like, you can see, like, there's no reason why the stock should move about 19%, but people are looking at this list of the most shorted stocks, and they're going GameStop, and next one's Dillard's. But I don't think the company is that well known, so people don't really crowd around it. And evaluation, it's at 2 billion. So again, it's not something that everyone's like going towards. Everyone's really, really focused on GameStop. But I think there's a good chance AMC might be a target, because right now it's just a 1 billion valuation, and you have a short interest of about 60%, about 59% of the float. So in a sense, it's a decent amount of the float, but of course nowhere near what GameStop had at 144%. So, but it does make it a good target because the valuation is low enough, whereas other companies, the valuation is quite high. Though in the scheme of things, not too high, but it's still high enough. So here is it Ligand Pharmaceuticals is at 2.5 billion, and you can see Bed Bath & Beyond also had a very similar impact, where it's really moved up in the recent weeks from less than $20 to about over $36, and you can see in the before markets it's moving quite a lot. So there's this real big kind of thing where everyone from, I guess, all sorts of forums, including Wall Street Bets, is just really targeting those stocks, because they're like, if we target this and we make the shorts recover, they're going to have to buy so much of this stock to really recover. Now, if you imagine AMC, that 59% of the stock has to be brought up by the people shorting it in order to close their positions. Hence why the stocks are moving up quick. So you can see AMC before hours, it's 95% up, which is insane. Like this isn't even based on business fundamentals. This is just in a sense a game, because everyone's looking at this and going, if we all collectively buy all this together, then basically we're going to have to force these people who are shorting these stocks to buy back, and then they're going to push the stock naturally higher, and that's when we make our money. So yeah, I've just, this is probably the most entertaining event that's kind of come about this year, but this year's not been that long anyway. But I'd say probably in the last 12 months, like including the pandemic, like for the markets, like there are strange things in the markets, but nothing really beats what I'm seeing right here. Like I've been in the markets long enough to really go, this is really eye-opening stuff. So I think personally I'm very entertained by it, but who knows if you're entertained by it or not. And I'm sure some of you guys have probably brought some GameStop and probably made a decent gain, because I think if you've been buying in the last week or two, hard not to make a gain on GameStop given this performance, like going to 248 for before hours. And remember, this stock used to trade for pennies. Like in September, used to trade for around $4, in August around $4, and then it slowly moved up into the teens. I don't imagine there's anyone holding back from the $4 zone, but and if you did hold at the $4 zone, I'm sure you would have sold quite early on. But of course, a lot of people holding this right now are probably people from like Wall Street Bets or something like that. I don't see any, rationality behind it, but of course, it's in a sense, it's a game. People are buying, they're holding, they're taking that risk, and they're hoping it pays off. But eventually all things come to an end, so as long as you make sure you're not the last person at the very, very top when it gets sold down, then I guess it's always fine. It's kind of like breaking the law. Like no one cares until you get caught. And the same thing with investing. No one cares until you lose money. If you're earning money, no one's thinking, oh, you took so much risk to earn that money. But if you lose that money, I bet you're going to have so many people come to you and go, oh, well, you lost that money because you took extreme risk. But if you earn money, then everyone's going to applaud you for managing to take that risk. So it kind of is quite a different kind of perspective. And you can see with National Beverage Corporation, $6 billion, they have just moved up in the last couple of weeks, literally from less than $100 in the $80-$90 zones to $130. And this one's not too bad itself. Like, this is a decent company in some sense. So yeah, like you can actually buy some decent companies on the short list and hope people actually have to recover when the business does well. But of course, it's highly shorted because a lot of people are against the business. They think it's going to fail, and hence why they're shorting it. And then yeah, like it's similar stuff happening here. Yesterday increased by 12%, before hours 8%. So really just like, but of course you can see the peaks here that it did fall. But you've got people out of probably hoping that it rises again. That was yesterday. But you can clearly see there's a trend that all the most shorted stocks are up so much in the last couple of weeks, because there's this kind of massive play to really just surprise all the shorts and make them cover, and then basically everyone wins except the shorts. Yeah, so and then we've got Academy Sports Out and Outdoors, 2 billion valuation. So there's a clear trend that these shorted companies have a very low valuation in a sense. But yeah, and I guess the whole idea is these people are shorting it because they think these companies are going to go to zero. Yeah, so I guess this one, I wouldn't say too much of a change in the last couple of weeks. Sunpower has probably moved up quite a bit, actually, $25 to $53, though it is helped by Biden's recent announcements for green energy, like just anything eco, anything that's renewable, sustainability, and the fact that the name Sunpower just sings, it just makes people want to buy it. And then you have people recovering. So 53% of Sunpower's float is shorted, so all of a sudden people have to recover, and basically the stock has gone up 100% in the last month. Yeah, so that's kind of, but like in terms of before hours, AMC is by far the one that's on the highest amount in terms of all the companies on this list. So hence why I'm saying potentially AMC is also one to watch, because if people go from GameStop, though I think people are still having a lot of fun on GameStop, and then afterwards they could redirect their attentions, because there's a lot of money that's just been created and with people investing in GameStop, and they may redirect that money into AMC, and potentially it pushes this up. But I think this is purely just for entertainment purposes, of course. And any buying would be a very, very much a pure gamble, because there's no fundamentals. The movies are not open. You cannot go to the movies right now. They did starve off bankruptcy. Currently they do burn about over $100 million a month. So they got a loan for like 900 million. So that gives them probably a leeway of like 7-8 months around there before they look at bankruptcy again. So this company really needs to be able to open the doors, and you hope, yeah, for their sake that they do manage to open it. But right now it's basically a toy for all the people on like Wall Street bets to basically play with the shorts and make them recover, and for everyone involved to make quite a huge amount on the expense of the shorts while they recover. Yeah, so definitely let me know what your thoughts about this is. Like, it's quite a phenomenon that you're watching basically all the most shorted stocks basically make huge gains, because everyone came as a group, as a collective, and decide to buy all the stocks and just push the price up, which kind of has shorts running scared. There will be some that were irrational. They'll be like, no, I'm still holding. And they probably, I don't know, like, would you still short the stock if you were shorting at like $20 and it goes to $100, and then would you stay in your position even if it got to $200? Would you still short the company? So like, there potentially is people that might stay with their positions and they still continue to short. So it's definitely something that's interesting, particularly if you're new to shorting and you don't know that much about shorting. then yeah, like basically it's when people borrow stocks, sell it onto the market, and basically hope that they can buy the stock at a cheaper price and return it back to its original holder, and they make the difference. But right now, if they borrowed stock and then say sold it at like $20, now they have to pay like on the before market price of $248 to return like a $20 stock, which is crazy, right? But that's the danger of going short for a stock. Hence why I don't really like going short for stocks, because I think the market can be very irrational sometimes, and you could actually put yourself in a lot of risk. Hence why I like going for the long-term stocks. And if you do well short-term, it's a bonus. But going short against a stock, there's very, very few situations where you actually want to go short a stock. But yeah, that's just me talking about how I am entertained by this very unique event. Until then, let me know what your thoughts are. If you have any questions, just post below. Until then, good luck investing, everyone.